All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Manaverse Podcast. I'm your host, Tom Traplin. This is the podcast where we talk about building a friendly local game store and how to make it successful. And I have with me Mikah, a fresh face, somebody new who was recently just introduced to me through Andrew from Manipool, and I'm very happy to have him on the podcast. And I'm really excited to dive into the wide and exciting world of sorting cardboard to downsell the whole thing. Welcome to the podcast, Mike.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here to discuss everything that we do. We expanded out on everything other than scanning as well. That's what we started doing. We've grown into an entire manage your own game store software now. We build sorting machines now. We build software to manage your cards, auto price, point of sales, inventory. And that's just scratching the surface of everything that we've got.
Yeah, judging, like we can see from the background, you have a ton of things happening all at the same time. There's machines, there's material, there's all kinds of stuff going on. So you have SortSwift and you have MTech Cave. Two different sides of the same sort of coin. How did you get into this business? Why are you doing what you're doing? Give people who are listening an idea of who you are and how you got here.
So it all started, we started building everything like our business in 2019. Started out just as a little phone repair store, started repairing phones, soldering stuff. I had gamers coming in to play Magic here and there, so we had some Magic stuff on the side. Then that kind of turned into, I want you to carry singles, and then we looked into getting Binder POS. We had Binder for a few years, and then things started going downhill. I started building other things that I didn't feel right for Binder taking their percentage of. So we did a Kickstarter where we designed drawers, which that's the wood. And then there's the laser that made all of the drawers from the Kickstarter. And we sold over $150,000 worth of those drawers on that Kickstarter. It took us, I think it was over a year to build them and send them out. I think it was over 3,500 units. And that kind of grew into, I can make other things. So I started making other things. And then that turned into, I could probably make a sorting machine. There's a possibility here. Everybody in the industry that I was talking to is, no, there's no room for a sorting machine. Wouldn't be worth your time. Don't make one. I'm like, I'm going to make one, whether you guys like it or not. So I started building the sorting machine. I think it was in November of 23 or October. And 6, 7, 8 iterations later, we got a production model that I've now delivered 5. 6th one is back there ready to be delivered, just needs some like final tests. The 7th one is probably about 75, 80% done. And we have, I believe, 21 of them ordered. So there definitely was room in the market. So I've grown to just listen to the people. And these were some, I guess you could say, bigger names in the industry who everyone looks up to. And I was telling them, I was like, hey, look, what would you guys think about if I made a sorting machine? And they're like, you wouldn't do very well with it. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to leave this group. I'm going to do my own thing then. So I left the group. Here I am. I've recently made ties with that group back again, and they're talking to me a little differently now. So
I'm sure they are.
I've worked really hard making that machine. Now we've got it patent pending. We've filed the patents on it because the concept of the machine itself is just completely revolutionary to what everyone else has. So it's Fizzbatch styled, which I've talked to Grant and all of them, and they're pretty proud of what we've done because they wrote an article about sorting machines in the industry, how many attempts there have been over the last, 20 years or whatever. There haven't been any new ones that have hit production in the last 20 years other than our machine. So there's the Roka, the Fizzbatch, the Magic Sorter, which we are the U.S. repair location for. It's the only place in the world that is authorized to do that. And we help people with their Magic Sorters for free. We don't charge anybody like video calls or anything, but if they do mail it to us and we actually physically fix it for them, then we do charge something. But I'll have one-on-one video calls with people scheduled throughout the week, and it's usually something simple as a loose screw or something just like out of line. We'll get those fixed, and then on top of the Magic Sort, there's the CardBot as well, which only does the binary sort. Beyond that, there haven't been any new sorting machines in the industry because they're really expensive to start. I don't know if anybody knows that. Their article expressly said that. And if you don't know what you're doing, something can go wrong middle of the project, you have to start over. The whole project we did, I've completely redesigned. I've had completely different designs. It started where it was like waist high for the machine, but turns out if your bins are too far from the conveyor, then they ding the corners and it's just
not good.
Yeah, so we had to revert to the version we have now, which, I mean, There's nothing wrong with it, but the bins could be a little bigger. But most people don't ever sort into a bin more than 100 cards at a time. So I've seen people use their fizz batch just to make 50 card packs, and they only have 13 bins to use. Ours, you can do 100 card packs, but 28 times. And
So
the
way
way
more capacity.
oh yeah. And the way we've designed it is we can make wider models, we can make shorter models, we can do one with just 3 bins on the end, which is actually what we plan on doing hopefully later this year, is release our Simple Sorter XL, which is a 9-bin version. Works exactly the same, except it has 9 bins. And I think that's going to be the one that is the most industry accepted, because it's going to be pretty much the same price as a card bot, around 7,000 to 8,000, including the scanner. And instead of just getting a binary sort for that price, you get 9 bins, 8 of which are usable. The 9th one is your overflow or your not found or whatever. And it would work really great for doing price sifts or anything like that. But that's the sorting machine aspect of everything. We do way more than that. We do drawers, we cut pack dispensers, we make displays, Dragon Shield dispensers. If you know what Card Max displays are that go in display cases, we designed our own version that is magnetic on the sides as well. So instead of just being acrylic and always breaking the little prongs off whenever you try to put one together, ours don't break, and then they're magnetic to each other, so you can just snap them together in your display case. We also make other sizes other than just sleeves and top loaders. We make graded. We make them for those little relic token counter things. You know, the things you spin the... Yeah, we make those. We make drawers for those. We make graded drawers, top load size drawers, penny sleeve size drawers.
Tons of options.
Yeah, and if there's anything I ever don't have, usually somebody can tell me and I can just whip something together. It's my skills of self-taught CAD is pretty high at this point. So it used to, the original card drawer. How long did it take me to build the first card drawer? 3 days. I had to draw every interlock for them. But now I have a script that I just click 2 sides and bam, it makes all of them for me. So instead of taking 3 days, I can make an entire drawer in 20 minutes.
Nice.
It's not too difficult nowadays.
Yeah, it's funny how the skill set starts to become more efficient over time. It sounds really cool. I'm curious as to, I want to explore all of it, but for the card sorter specifically, what level of involvement in TCGs would justify a card sorter for a business? At what point would you recommend, okay, yeah, you do enough volume, this would make sense for you?
Honestly, I don't know. We built them so you could basically ramp up, right? So you could start with just our little sifter. That is literally just a Pi controller that controls the scanner, right? It will let you stop scanning whenever you hit a high value card. It's not really a sorter in per se, but it really depends on your margins on the cards. Are you getting them from bulk? Are you wanting to make bulk lots? I think the Simple Sorter XL is going to hit everybody's ability to buy. The Super Sorter, I'd probably say, is more card store level for use, but I've had 2. So far, I've delivered 2 to 2 individuals at their house, not actual stores. So it could be an at-home operation. It could be an in-store operation. I say it depends on your level, but determining the level is the point. I don't know what scale they were at, but I did see how many cards they had, and it was quite a few. It's more than your typical average person would have. But that's, again, why we're making the smaller ones. So we could probably hit that field too for the people who have, 10,000 cards or something. They could probably get the regular old Simple Sorter with 3 bins and subscribe to we now have rollover plans where they just sort as many cards as they feel. They don't have to pay our high $200 a month unlimited scanning plan if they only plan to do 500 cards a month or something. So they just subscribe to $5 a month, which gets them 500 scans a month. We have different growth tiers for all of the scanning to help each aspect of every person. And that kind of explains why we built our SortSwift software in the whole a la carte aspect. So it's not really, you have to be this level to use our stuff. It's a one size fits all. Use what you want. If you don't have a buy list and you don't want one, don't pay for it. If you don't need a point of sale because you're an at-home operation, don't pay for it. But if you're a store that does all of that, then we have bundles to get it discounted for subscribing to all of our different plans. But I will say the aspect of in-depthness that we're doing on each of the what are they? packages or whatever for inventory or buy list is beyond what is available out there. Not very many people offer the features we do for the price we do. Some competitors out there who don't charge fees like we do, their minimum plan with no fees is $500 a month, and they limit what you can do. Their plans go all the way up to $5,000 a month, and they may offer a little bit extra that we don't, but it's not something that we don't have planned. We have the plans in there where you can do pretty much everything that they're doing on their $5,000 a month plan for $200 a month, no fees.
That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, we're building it in a way where I could use it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so you mentioned Binder, and I think Binder is probably one of the most well-known, like online e-commerce management for singles specifically, right? At least it was. And as of this point in 2025, halfway through, I would say Binder's reputation has slipped a little bit. And I guess the rumor is that they are not onboarding as much, or they're not bringing as many people in and scaling back operations and doing all sorts of things. But the end result is that it's not really doing what they promised as much as it was maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. So you're saying that the software package as well as the physical aspect of the machinery and the sorting machines combined are going to, you're hoping to take Binder's lunch and provide a better service?
I'd say we already are, because I convert probably 2 to 3 Binder customers a week who are hopping off of their platform. Then there are some others who say, oh yeah, Binder's not onboarding right now, and I'm just looking for options. And then I'll give them a full tour of everything that we offer. And they're like, you're offering all this at this price? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't pay what other people are paying for all of this stuff. I couldn't afford it as a startup store or just a general aspect store. $200 a month is a swallowable amount for a store to handle all of their inventory. So it is true. Sure. Binder is not onboarding people, and they don't plan to until 2026 from all of the people that I've talked to. They have also said that they don't, these are words that I'm hearing from people who are onboarding with me.
Speculation.
Yeah. They also are not adding new features until 2026, or they may be doing little bug fixes here and there, but anything new and improved, from what I've heard from everybody else that is onboarding with me now, is it's not improving until 2026, and they may actually be scrapping it and combining it with a TCG player POS, I guess, is what the direction they're going. And that brings me to the conclusion of, if you want to onboard with someone else, you still have to wait about a week, get all their accounts set up. With us, you literally can self-serve and sign yourself up in 10 minutes. All of our systems are completely self-serve. I have tutorials how to set it all up yourself if you want, if I'm not around, which I usually am. People can message me on Discord. As long as I'm not busy, like on a call, then I'm usually replying within 10 seconds, whether it's 9 a.m. in the morning or 10 or 11 o'clock at night. I usually can, wife's not happy with me for that one, but it's got to be done to make everything work as it needs to be.
At least for now.
Yeah. And later on, we can afford to pay somebody to handle all that for me, especially if we get the influx of customers that we've been getting. Just this month alone, we've doubled our current customer base. We were doing, I think, 40-ish customers. I think we're up to 80 now. Yeah. So we had 58 last month, and we're up to 77 now. And the amount of monthly recurring revenue has gone up 65% versus last month. And it's never been below 20 to 30%. So our growth is exponential at this point.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's really good. And it goes to show the dedication we've put in. The amount of work we're putting into making this all work is helping us grow as fast as we are. Like just last night, I had a guy join from Mexico, and he said that we don't have Mexican dollars in our currency conversion list. So I integrated Mexican conversion for him in 20 minutes on the website. And
that's always nice.
Yeah.
You can talk to them, hey, can you just add this feature for me? And they're like, oh yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah.
And it's something you could just whip up really quickly. But imagine trying to get that kind of response out of eBay or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm just chatting with them like, hey, my point of sale won't let me log in. They're like, oh, give us 2 months. That's how it was whenever we swapped off of Binder. I was like, catalogs aren't loading. You know, what's going on? Things aren't repricing. I'm not getting pictures. These are all the stories that I've been hearing are still going on. So they don't get new release sets until after release. Most of the time, they don't even have pictures with those. And then all of the, I think the list currently isn't pricing on their catalogs. So it's a mess over there. And a lot of people are like, how quick do your catalog items show up? And I'm like, within 24 hours, it's all automated. I don't know. I don't know where the issue is there. It's an automated process. You just build the catalog and it shows up.
I'm curious too. And I'm also curious as well. I have a client who is on Binder right now. We have issues, are like all of a sudden problems with pricing and then the feed's wrong and there's all kinds of things. And it's just like what you're describing. So if they were hypothetically interested in making the switch, what would the process look like for them to take a like fairly sizable operation from Binder and then moving it over to SortSwift?
So if they want to import their inventory, that's the only thing that takes a bit. We can import, I believe, their entire catalog in about 5 to 6 hours to our inventory. And then once it's in ours, the Binder listings on Shopify will end up needing to be like removed, for example, because they push every variant of every item, whether you have it in stock or not, to your shop. It clutters up like Marketplace Connect. It clutters up Shopify point of sale, filtering through all of these items that you don't have. Our system, once they're imported, we push them back out organized. You have your own condition line, you have a printing line, and a language line. So our system also supports multiple languages. However, it doesn't have the full ability to price the language differently currently. It just bases it off near mint and then a percentage of near mint. But our system breaks it up into a way where you can price that per set, as well as rarity baselines and all that fun stuff. But after it's all imported, all you have to do is connect our Shopify, but you've got to do that before we can import anyways, and you just hit push. And then all of your listings that are in stock go out to Shopify, recreated in the right format. And it depends on the size of the inventory, but the in-stock amount, I think I had somebody imported, I think it was 80,000 unique items, but it was closer to 300,000 actual in-stock items. It took him upwards of a week, but this was on the old push process. We have a new push process that uses their latest like GraphQL or whatever the term is now. It was REST API, but it's GraphQL now. And that process is sped up tremendously. So I think we pushed 5,000 of those overnight, and it probably stopped way in the middle of the night anyways, just recently from another Binder customer we converted. So it's not too hard on the store itself. It's mostly all stuff on our side that we have to do.
Yeah, until you're ready to make the switch, right?
Yeah.
Building it into the new system and then switching things over once it's ready to go.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Because one of the problems that we were running into, and I think you mentioned it, was that like connecting things to Merchant Center for Google, the feed was reading the product information incorrectly, and partly because the variants were confusing or it wasn't being shifted over properly. So it was reading variant data for cards they didn't have, and it basically Merchant Center was like, oh, this is invalid pricing because it's not showing the same price that we're getting from the feed, and it's too much. You're showing the near mint, but you have a lightly played, and it's like something was wrong. And partly because of the, like you said, just the fact that they have all of it there and it's all present in the system, whether you have the product or not. Yeah, our attempts to try and get Binder to help us out with that issue have been non-existent. And we've been trying to deal with this for months. So interesting ideas, very, very intriguing as to how it will work. And yeah, to be clear, this is something that every store could theoretically do, whether or not they have the sorter, right? They don't need the machine per se. This could be just a service that helps them sell online and all the various platforms.
Yeah, so
it's not just Shopify as well, right? There's other.
Yeah, so our system is completely independent of any specific selling platform. You could subscribe to our inventory and just our point of sale and run your store off of that. We've got an online kiosk, in-store kiosk coming soon where people can browse your cards, purchase them. They'll go into your point of sale and you can process the transaction on your point of sale when they say, hey, I'm ready to pick this order up. And you don't need Shopify for that to work. You don't need Card Trader. You don't need all these other platforms for our system to work. However, our system keeps all of those other systems in line and in check. So say you sync to Card Trader, say you sync to Manipool, say you sync to Shopify. Our system, as soon as a sale is detected on those, will come out and push that inventory change to the other platforms instantaneously as soon as it's received. The whole system is event-based. It's not like polling every listing every 12 hours. As soon as something hits our server, it tells other areas of the server to update everywhere else. So if you change a price and our system detects, oh, I just changed the price, I need to go change this on all the other platforms. And it just circulates. Point of sale kind of does the same thing. And then how we've got it all built, for example, a Binder customer could use our buy list. It's completely independent. A regular at-home user from their office or wherever they're selling their cards from could use our buy list and buy cards from customers, fully automated. It has a front end, it has a back end, it has logging for store credit, it has what you paid logged. So when you actually complete the buy list, it logs the amount of credit or cash that you gave that customer, as well as the selling price of those cards that you bought from the customer. And if you come back and look at it later on and it recalculates, it will show you what you paid versus what they're worth now. So you could have bought them at a good time, you could have bought them at a bad time. This also includes a full customer chat, as well as emailing. And when they refresh their customer chat, it shows the offer of that card specifically. So say you change a condition from LP to MP and that price offer changes. All they have to do is log into their chat and look at the summary, and it will show them an updated amount of what that actual buy list was that they offered or submitted. That's buy list. Our inventory is much more in depth than just that. I can go over that if you want me to, but if
Sure, I am curious.
Okay.
Give me the details.
So on our inventory system, it integrates really well with everywhere else. So when you actually process a buy list, if you're subscribed to our inventory, you can click send to inventory, and that will send that card over to your inventory with the amount you paid as its cost. Our system tracks cost per card. It gives you an image per card. It gives you a remark and a comment per card, which allows you to sort your cards in chaos, which is not by setting A to Z. Say you buy a buy list of 100 cards, you want to put those away, you've got to break them up, put them into their individual bins and all that, all their sets. Now, with our chaos system, you give it a remark of, let's give you an example of how I do it. I give my remark 010101 and then 02076. And you're like, well, what do those numbers mean? The first number is your aisle. The second number is your rack. The third number is your shelf. The fourth number is the unit on that shelf. The fifth number is the row in that unit. And then the sixth number is the bin in that row. So you just look at that number. Oh, that card it's in this bin. You go grab that bin out. You pull them out. There's your card. All of our systems integrate into our pick list, which gives you those remarks. And if you're adding those from your buy list, you can take those 100 cards you just bought from someone, say, I want to put them in bin row 6, bin 5. It's empty. You just type your remark in, you hit send to inventory, you put it in that bin, it's put away. You know where to find them later on. If you've got a half empty bin, I
think that's so cool.
Yeah, if you got a small little buy list order and you've got a half empty bin, okay, I want to fill this bin up, type the remark in, put it in that bin. You don't have to sort set A to Z. You can still mix and match. You don't have to convert fully to chaos. You can do set an A to Z plus chaos. You can do like a mixture of that. I currently do it where my cards are on the sales floor and then I can just go out there because I know the card is out on the front. Some people put their cards in binders. This system allows you to say it's in red binder 4, page 6. So you could go in depth like that as you want. You could say display case 2, display case 1, card wall 3. It's completely how you want to build it because it's a fully customizable text field. It's not a forced layout. Some people call their chaos locations C01-B114. It just
works for you, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that you have, if you're using our scanner, the fact that you have a scan per card helps with this as well. When you scan with our scanning systems, whether it's with the sorter or without, we have scanning systems where you don't have to use the sorter. You export that list, it gives you a scan of that card. When you upload that into your inventory, that scan is then tied to that listing. So on your pick list, if you hover over the name of the card, it'll show you the exact scan that you uploaded. So say you sell a card from Modern Horizons 3, but it was actually Ixalan, then you can hover over that card and it will show you, oh, I listed this card wrong. It's a full paper trail of the card and you can understand where the issues are happening, if they're happening. I've also added the ability lately, I think that this was a couple of days ago, where on the pick list page, say you don't have a card all of a sudden, it's gone. Somebody pulled it by accident because they were going through the bin already and they're like, oh, that's on my list. And they just pulled it out and put it to the side. Probably a training issue there, but say the card isn't there anymore. You can click select replacement and it will show you all the other bins that have that exact card in it. You pick the bin you want to pull out and you go grab that card instead. And that's a lately feature that I added on the pick list as well. Say somebody wants to cancel an order. They buy the cards from you. I don't want these. Can you put these back? Just check the box off for the cards you want to put back in inventory. You hit return to inventory. They go back to the bin that they needed to go in, and you just put them away. If you've already pulled them, in my opinion, I would just scan them in again and put them in a new bin. But if you haven't pulled the orders yet, it makes it so much easier to just say, oh, he doesn't want this entire order. You check it all off, you hit return to inventory. They're still in the bins where they need to be. It just makes life easier that way.
Yeah, very flexible.
So the one of our biggest ones is the cost per card that I was mentioning earlier. Your buy list, when you send it to inventory, will push that cost over, and then you can always see what you actually paid for that card. And it's not like a cost per card. It is a cost per card. So if you have 10 of the same card, you have 10 costs per item. This allows you to see profitability for those items when you bought them. We actually track profit reports on our sales tab now, comparing what it sold for versus what you paid, and shows you your profit on that card. We also log like deductions and like manual adjustments, where they sold on. And just since we mentioned Manipool, and Manipool's been sharing a lot of their finance details lately, I think he would be okay with me saying how many of our customers do some sales on Manapool. Let's see. So just myself, this isn't a lot. I don't do many sales, but I have done $12,000 on Manapool since January.
That's not bad.
And Manapool now is doing almost as well as Card Trader is on our platform in terms of sales. So
they're making some big gains.
Oh yeah. The Manapool has basically just exploded. And if that's just with Magic, imagine what they could do with all the other games on there. I mean,
that's if Andrew wants to explore.
Yeah,
that.
if he wants to.
I remember his tagline was "Go catch them all somewhere else," at least initially. But we'll see.
Yeah, they're doing great. But just this year, our customers have done almost $750,000 in sales. It may not seem like a lot, but for a startup company like we are, that's a lot to me. Our users have scanned 2.2 million cards with our scanning systems since we started in May of last year. We hit, I think it was $2 million in scans a few months, like maybe 6 months ago, but we've since turned that calculation off because it was eating up some computing power that we didn't need. We might turn it back on when we optimize it, but it goes to show how much our systems are used. And if one more person signs up for a subscription, that will mean we have 90 or 100 active subscriptions.
I'm sure we can tip that over, but hopefully
someone
from this audience is, I'm going to be 100. Jump in right now.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that sounds really cool. I really like the whole idea of the software package. I like trying to optimize things because the industry itself, I think, has shown there's obviously demand for this sort of thing. There is a need for this kind of software, for this kind of machinery to make the analog nature of trading card games, bring it a little bit more into the modern age. And I think it sounds like you've got something really interesting going on. And I know there are a lot of other options, and there's a lot of people working on a good solution for this sort of thing. But I really like the way this is going. What are your plans for the future? What are you working on right now? What are you excited about for the next 6 to 12 months?
So we've integrated with a couple of marketplaces. We are going to end up working on our own sister marketplace, separate companies from SortSwift, where we're not influenced, but how that Card Shop Live fiasco with Card Shop Live selling on their own platform was. But the idea of growing beyond just a selling platform, we want to be able to offer people a way to sell those cards beyond these just syncing to somebody else's platform. There's, not to sound greedy anyway, but there's a lot of money in it. But if we can also save people money by offering lower fees than the competing platforms, then, or at least the same. We also have plans to do something like a Fulfill by SortSwift, where instead of it being direct, like you selling on TCG Player Direct, it only sells on TCG Player. Fulfill by SortSwift would be where somebody sends you these cards and you sell it on all the linked platforms that SortSwift offers. And it syncs out to these platforms. You can sell on Manapool, Card Trader, Shopify, if we end up having a Fulfill by SortSwift Shopify hub, something like that, where we fulfill the cards for you, we ship them, we package them, we put them away. All you have to do is scan them, put them in little team bags, send us the team bag. But we're going to have an entire scanning system built for scanning cards in with Fulfill by SortSwift, where you scan 50 card little team bags. As soon as that 50 card bundle is done, you hit print label. It puts your little label on it, and you just put that in the box, and then we'll scan that label, say, okay, this has these cards in it. We put it in the bins. With our chaos system, helps us grow our inventory much faster, and we can identify whose cards are whose instantaneously. So if somebody wants to pull out, we say, okay, we'll go pull these bins out in all the different locations that they're in and send them their cards back. It's not, they're mixed into the main inventory now. I'm sorry, we can't pull out or guarantee these are your cards. Doing it this way, we have dedicated bins to each user. Then whenever cards from that bin sell, then that we know goes to that user. We also have plans for a sister marketplace where We do all of the stuff an LGS store would do. So like Citadel paint, Warhammer models, card sleeves, of course, singles. We're hoping to do something along the lines of comics because we're working with Manage Comics as well, which was a Binder POS partner. It is now our partner because he just wasn't getting the features that he needed from Binder. So he signed up. All he needed them to integrate was a draft order import on their point of sale. And in the, I guess, 3 years, he wasn't getting that. So we built that in a few months. And he says, look, just the fact that you're replying to me is more than I get from there. So we're willing to make this happen. And we have a upcoming full webinar, like video conference on YouTube with them on the 19th, where I just showcase the whole features of everything. Speaking of everything, I haven't covered everything. We also have a CSV suite.
Tell me more.
So say somebody uploads a CSV file from like TCG Player, right? Something's wrong. Say something's wrong on there. There's no way for you to just change the condition because the ID doesn't change. Our CSV editor is a full visual editor for a CSV file for TCG cards. So say you upload a card. It was Modern Horizons 3, some card in there. But again, it meant to be Ixalan. So on the left side, all you have to do is find that correct card. You click it, and that updates the entire CSV with all the new IDs, all the new pricing. If that card was meant to be foil, you press Control. It makes it a foil printing. We also have a repricer where you could reprice the items from that with the latest pricing rules that you have set, as well as a CSV buy list. So if you don't want to use any of our like fully automated ways, you can take the CSV tools and run your store with those if you needed to. Or like you could buy cards from people with a CSV file. You uploaded it, price it out. Items under this amount are bulk. Items over this are bulk or not bulk. We offer this amount of money for this range. And then we have a fuzzy match tool, which I've worked really hard on, where say you get an export from Mana Box or whatever that doesn't have a Scryfall ID or any kind of ID on it. You can upload it into the fuzzy match tool and it will check all of the available fields to find the ID of that card specifically. Then you can then export that and then import that into inventory. And that's just tools that are included in the CSV suite. So that I think we charge like $15 a month for those.
Cool. I wanted to ask about the pricing. How do you determine the prices? Where does the data come from?
So all of our prices come off of a TCG Player. We have a source that is public. TCG Player is aware that they're doing it. And we just pull their API and make the prices off of them that way. We're working on getting other price sources, but right now they come off of TCG Player. I think we get back their market, low, direct low, mid, and high prices. And then you can build your own pricing rules based off of all of those. As soon as Card Market gives a way of getting their market price, Card Trader gets a way of getting their prices on their API, then we'll probably be pulling those in as well. And you can pick which price point you want to use. But currently they don't offer that in a way on their API. They do offer something like the last X item sales or whatever, but it's not like a set, this is the price or this is the average. They give you the last like 7 items that were sold or something. And it's not just something, hey, here's our price point, work off of it. But we're currently working on tying all of the TCG Player IDs to Card Market IDs. Card Market, again. We are doing that too, but we are working on Card Trader as well. Card Market doesn't have an API just like TCG Player does. That's the UK marketplace. But as soon as we can tie all the TCG Player IDs to all of the other IDs, then we'll have pretty much the most robust system for a worldwide use. Make it where we can list all of the items on Card Trader instead of just select few here and there because they finally tied the ID in their database. If we can tie the ID to the Blueprint ID, which is what they call it, then we can list every listing that is on theirs. There's some right now that we can't sell on there, like I believe it's One Piece or Lorcana or something where they don't have the TCG Player IDs tied to their Blueprint ID in their database. So it's going to have to take some manual work on our end to make it work. But with our fuzzy match tool, now that I've developed it, it's going to make that process a lot easier.
Cool. And you mentioned Lorcana, One Piece. So people listening, it's not just Magic. The number of games supported by the system.
If it's on TCG Player, our system supports it. So there's no limit to the games that we can support. I think on the buy list page, we just have them turned off to not clutter the whole thing. And when somebody asks, I just add it. But otherwise, if somebody wants to sell stuff like MetaZoo, then they can, because if it's on TCG Player, then we still support it. I don't know if it's still on TCG Player. If it's there, then we can sell it and auto price it, whatever. We also auto price sealed product as well. I know Binder doesn't. You have a set price, you sell that, and that's what you get. But currently we can make it auto match the market prices. I'm going to build a way of setting a per item floor. So for example, a sealed item that you don't want to sell below your quote unquote keystone. If the market fluctuates up to $200 a box instead of $150, then that auto pricer would pull it up to that $200 mark. And then if it plummets, then it wouldn't drop below that amount. Currently, it will follow the market until I get that integrated. I've got the ideas. We just need the time to actually do it. And we recently just went over a complete rewrite of all of our syncs. So we were running off of like change streams where every little change in the database was always doing something, whether the price changed or didn't change. If they changed, there was a change attempted, it was logging that change. And then it was still going over, do we do something with this or not? And then yes, no, pass it off. Now it's all event based. So if something changes, then something happens. Otherwise, if nothing changes, we don't waste the computing power to send out the change. So say you price something at $5, it reprices, but your rounding is set to $5. So there was no difference in the reprice versus what's on Shopify. So we didn't send a change because there was no reason to.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. From my relatively layman's point of view, it sounds like you are processing an insane amount of data on a regular basis.
That's
so
definitely
making that
true.
efficient probably would be a good idea, especially if things scale up. What would happen if you had 1,000 customers all of a sudden in the near future?
Nothing. All we do is enable scaling on our servers. They'll spool up another one if we go over a certain CPU amount. With how we have everything set up now, we can scale up each area. We could scale up our API server separately from our front end, or we could scale up our scanning separately from our API. Buy list, if it starts getting overwhelmed, we just scale up the API servers a little bit. We have recently had to scale up our API server, but with our new optimizations, I honestly scaled it back down. So there's no reason to leave it as high as we had it because we were doing constant, I believe it was like 80% CPU. And just looking at it now, we're averaging, 3%, and then there'll be a spike to 25%, and then it'll go back down to 3%. Before, it was always around 80, so I had to scale it up to keep in track with it. But with all of our optimizations and event-based everything, it is now staying down there, even with scaling down. So we've done a lot of optimizations to make everything work the way they need to work. Awesome. And to handle an influx of people. Even with a 60% increase versus last month, it's still at about 3% CPU usage.
Yeah. No, I love that part. I love the fact that you're a small team making big moves. That's so cool.
Yeah. We've built it in a way where we can benefit everybody. That's been our goal. We want everybody to be able to use SortSwift. We don't want just card store owners. However, we do want our marketplace to be just card store owners because we saw how things went downhill with TCG Player when normal sellers got on there. There were a lot more of like missing items or people complaining that their items weren't the right condition because the training wasn't there like a card store would have. They would buy from a new seller who's never sold cards before, but they think it's the new big thing that they can sell all these cards and make millions of dollars. So they're churning and burning as quick as they can, not caring about all the negative feedback that they get. But it's, if we have some sort of, what's the word? I don't want to say viability. No, testing, vetting. That's the word that I was looking for.
Okay.
Vetting, some sort of vetting process of a seller that goes on there, then I think that would help a marketplace strive and grow in the way we want it to.
Yeah, and maybe the standards of the solutions you're setting would be a good way to set the standard of what a verified or vetted seller could be, who actually has systems in place and things like that to make sure that, like you said, they're shipping out the right things and they're selling things to people that they actually bought and not mistakenly sending them things that they didn't want. But yeah, no, I'm jazzed. I like it. Where can people go to find out more and inquire about getting their own machine and signing up and discover the whole wide world of everything that you got going on?
So everything that we have, including all the pricing, is just on SortSwift.com. It's all broken out, all the different features you get. And if you wanted to integrate into our sorting machines, that is also on SortSwift.com. There's a check it out button you can click, which just takes you to MTechCave.com, where I personally produce it as the MTech company instead of SortSwift because I have like resale licenses and all that stuff. That's SortSwift is just a software-based company. It handles all the software, all the back end, all the web hosting. At MTech, we can resell physical stuff because we have all the licenses too. That's why I've broken it up in that way. Currently, we have 4 machines left at our discounted price of $20,000. Once those 4 are gone, it goes up to $25,000, and the super sorter is staying at $25,000. We just sold our last 17,500 position a couple weeks ago, and I sold another slot this morning. So we're down to 4. And I'd say I don't think those will last probably by the end of the year. I mean, that's a long time, but it could be way sooner than that with them seeing it going down. Yeah, mtechcave.com, sortswift.com, those 2 places.
Cool. When somebody signs up, let them know that you came from the Manaverse podcast. Let them know that, Mikah, know that you heard it here first and that you're interested.
I'd love to hear it. Absolutely. I want to know where everybody's coming from, because a lot of it's been coming from a single Reddit post that I've been hearing about. And before anybody assumes that it was me that posted on there, it was not. I still don't know those people that posted on Reddit. Trying to figure out who posted it. So if it was you, please let me know.
Yeah, reach out to Mikah. Let him know. He's on Discord. He's on the websites. He's on all over the place. You can definitely find him. Very responsive.
Discord, yeah, Facebook, the little button on the bottom right of SortSwift. And when you log in, I'm in the bottom right of that chat button as well. Got email.
Any final thoughts? Anything that you want to let people know before we say goodbye?
If you want to switch, don't hesitate. Just contact me. I'll walk you through. I'll hold your hand the whole way. Just don't worry about the process.
I like it. I think it's a good place to end it and a good contrast to what kind of onboarding, what kind of concierge service are you going to get from other options. Something to consider. Thank you very much for joining me on the podcast. I think what you're doing is super cool, and I'm going to bet that the people who are listening are also going to think that it's super cool and want to check it out. So thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. We'll talk to everybody again in the next episode of the Manaverse Podcast.